And it's not always the case that something replying to an individual in a human way will be the most efficient way of doing it. For example, if I just pinged my PA some tad of information, like if I had a PA, which wasn't Mar, they would probably ask for follow-up questions, all these various things. Our job is to find as much context from what you've already sent and the way you already send things, or the last time you did give context, so that when you do drop that in, it's like, oh, this means a calendar item. Oh, this means that a booking should also be created around that calendar item. Oh, this means that this person should be invited. As much context from as little interaction, as few clicks. That's our goal. Our goal is zero-click customer and user journeys wherever possible.
Zero click. Talk me through how you think about this product then. Like I know that when we had this first initial conversation about WhatsApp, a lot of people were kind of like, wow, this doesn't make sense. You know, someone else owns your distribution. What was the reason for building on that instead of building somewhere else?
I mean, great question. I think the number one thing was actually seeing how bad the existing products on WhatsApp were. I mean, I remember even around kind of August last year when we were starting to think about our angel round, which went very well, touch wood, into December of last year, we were talking to people who said, "Oh, I think like this Meta AI thing is coming out. Like, aren't they just going to build something?" Without realizing that one of the reasons I'd had this idea was because of Meta AI. Meta AI had been live in India since kind of mid last year. I'd been using
Wow, okay.
I'd been using it on my India phone. I used it on my India phone all through, I think, possibly both of my last trips to India. I go each December. So I think December 2023, maybe even. Certainly December 2024, it was live already.
They get all the good stuff first.
They do, because I think the infrastructure and the regulation means that's the case. And then you add WhatsApp Pay on top of that because of UPI, which is absolutely insane. That's not something that's coming to Europe anytime soon. I don't think regulation will be
No, we don't have the infrastructure for that yet.
not happening. That's just not happening, which is also an interesting point for us. But to focus on WhatsApp itself, the point being is that Meta spent millions on advertising, and some of you would have seen it at bus stops, on the tube, on TV, on YouTube, that they don't read your messages. They'll read directly what is tagged directly to Meta AI, but there is a huge source of information for anybody who wants to be linked into your WhatsApp conversations, because conversations as a whole, not just on WhatsApp, we're also expanding to Meta, rest of the stack. So Instagram, we're also expanding to Messenger. We'll be expanding to emails at some point. But Jakob and I took an early decision because we realized that the quickest and most common source of intent comes from messaging apps, and WhatsApp was something that was becoming easier and easier to build on. The group chat. I'm pretty sure you pinged me on WhatsApp initially for this as well.
Yep.
I mean, there we go, right? Isn't there's a source of intent for anything, for a meeting, for a schedule? There are a lot of companies. I mean, I've had VCs who we're speaking to in the next kind of 2 weeks say, like, yeah, like our VC, especially if it started as Solo GP, to start on WhatsApp. We didn't use Slack. And the reason why we moved over is because the tools were better. If the tools become better on WhatsApp, we can see a lot of companies from a small size that don't ever end up leaving and moving over to Slack. Maybe they moved to something like Den. Shout out to the Den guys, big fan of them. Justin Linus. But you can
Dude, they're killing it out in San Fran at the moment, aren't they?
absolutely killing it. And I think we have a very, very similar thesis. They're doing for B2B what we want to do for consumer. Have everything your source of intent within your messaging apps.
Well, I love it. And so when we think about what this looks like, it's not, and I guess you could expand over to B2B at a later date, right? And then this AI is hyper personalized. It understands the context of everything that's going on and can sort of bring in some of the nuances of what does a ditto res look like for someone that is just initiating a conversation. So you have a great experience going out. You're thinking like 4 steps ahead. You're playing chess with B2B at this moment in time.
It's an interesting one. I mean, I don't know if this is a wrong approach because, there's people who are absolutely killing it in B2B now, like getting revenues up exactly. I think of consumer AI much more similarly to like how the AI industry as a whole was like 5 to 10 years ago. I think there's a huge amount of data that's not being collected. If I think about my own time at Amazon, for example, yes, like the dashboards were there and there's all these stats, but realistically, like I'm not going to give Amazon my calendar. That's not happening. Maybe some super users will, but will I go out and give every single booking app, marketplace, point of purchase, point of scheduling my calendar? I don't feel comfortable with that. I mean, we have around 50 to 60% of users who try Nusmark add their calendar now. I'd say we get another 25% because currently we don't have iCloud calendar, which we're currently working on. So probably get that up to around maybe 70 or 80 on a really good day. But there's always going to be that 20% of people like who just completely like against having those sort of integrations, and I think there's no way in hell that they give those integrations to like a large company for one purpose. So okay, we can better schedule your delivery based around your calendar. That's a very, very scary thought, and building that trust and having access to that consumer data as a platform is key for us in the next years.
Is it just a wrapper at this moment in time, or is it more than that? As these reasoning models come in and they get better and better and better, and they actually start to quote unquote think, do you feel that the experience will get just out of this world when it comes to consumers using the product?
Absolutely, I think so. I think already we're starting to see like these glimmers of that, and that's what we use to show to like our investors. I mean, the glimmers were like almost non-existent back in December when we raised Angel, but it was enough for our early believers. Now they're starting to pop up. I mean, the really fun ones are things like, I'll book a restaurant in Hammersmith, Italian, and I'll go and like the server will get the ping back that I attended that. Even if I don't leave a review, we haven't added reviews directly through Nusmark yet. We will be having even more consumer data consumption. But the server gets a ping back that I attended that booking, that it went well, that the servers didn't ban me on that side. They can see all this sort of stuff from the API. And the next time I go, oh, I want to book, a restaurant in Hammersmith, and I say like, oh, I want to book Italian, it won't show me like a bunch of the options. It'll just say, hey, remember that restaurant that you liked? There's booking free. And here's a one-click booking button that's done. Already the agent is starting to personalize directly to the user and be like, hey, this user can use buttons. They use buttons a lot. They don't mind seeing information. Extra information they asked for was just the number of ratings if it wasn't already on the panel. So I'm going to show them a one-click button which says, this was that restaurant, that was the rating for it, this was the number of ratings, you attended it on this date, do you want to book it again for this number of people? Bang, done. How quickly we can...
I love it.
That is key. I don't think anyone's doing it, and certainly I haven't seen anyone doing it on WhatsApp yet. I think WhatsApp it really is just an amazing distribution network. I'll play only one of our bets is that the future of consumer AI interfacing will be through a lot of apps that already exist, including messaging apps.
And so it's building on those existing pipes and making sure that you own that share of mind when it comes to distribution.
Absolutely. And importantly, that share of data. But there are things there which the user is happy for you to have as long as you're providing optimal experience, which the platforms themselves have said specifically that they're not going to get involved with, or the regulations.
Is that something you're seeing when people sign up and start using the product? They ask questions about using my data, and then as long as you provide a good experience, they're okay.
That's pretty much it. Like, I think we are in the phase, I think we're in the peak phase, or just coming to the peak phase of, we have this on our deck actually. If it's so useful, you trust it.
What a line.
We're there.